Hi guys, viewers of and our friends of this channel. So, are you all with me to start something very interesting again? Yeah, good, awesome. So, how are you all doing? Are you all doing good and enjoying this series, right? Hope you all are doing good. So, guys, the most important question first, um, as usual, are you all ready to become industry level software developer? Yes, good, because that's the aim of this channel, right? Okay, guys, then let's do it, right? So be motivated and look forward to something really nice in this video, right? I'm excited to take you through this video. Let's do it now. So the lesson is about dealing with multiple screens. Lesson one, storyboard segues, a simple example. We'll be using Xcode version 11.4.1 for practicals and Apple developer docs for referencing. Let's move forward. So in this session, you will learn what is a storyboard segue and why do you need storyboard segues, how do you create a storyboard segue, and some practical code examples. This is a lesson plan. To start with a practical of a simple storyboard segue, and then to discuss whether are we using storyboard segues to go back in the screen, right? Mm, then Objective C view controller presentation changes moving from iOS version 13 onwards. Then using a back button to go back. I mean to dismiss the current view controller, right? Rather than using a segue, right? To use a back button. And a practical example to show when not to use basic view controllers in, when you use storyboard segues and to replace them with navigation controller. So this is a lesson plan, right? So let's move into the practical exercise. What I'm going to do is according to the lesson plan. Let's do this. So let a simple practical example using storyboard segues, right? So I will create iOS single view app, right? A new project file, new project, then iOS single view app. Next, so let me put this as lesson one, right? This is lesson one of storyboard segues, right? So let me just quickly grab it from here. I'm going to copy it. Give me a sec. So how about copying it from here? So lesson one, storyboard segues. It's going to be a simple example, right? Cool. Okay, guys, where are we? Right. Okay, I'm going to put that here. Right. I'm going to call as lesson one, simple example, right? Click next. And let's say I'm going to save it in a particular location, right? So screens. Let me make it here. Dealing with multiple screens. Yeah, I would create it here, right? All good. So it should get created, right? So I'm going to the main storyboard. So keep in mind that we are using the storyboard development approach, right? So because there's another approach where you don't use a storyboard and you do everything using coding, right? But in this tutor exercise, we are not using that approach. We are using storyboards. So on the storyboard, I got a view controller here, right? So if you want to know the basics of Objective-C and have a look at the previous videos in this lecture series, right? So because we have done a couple of videos on the basics, right? So now I got a view controller. So this is like the first screen. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another view controller from the library. So view show library, right? And then I'm going to say view controller, right? So I'm going to add a view controller here, right? So I got my second view controller, right? So I got two view controllers, and let me give some basic color into this. Give me a sec. Let me put a yellow color, let's say. So I will go into the attribute inspector, and then so I'll click on this, and let's put a background color of yellow to start with, right? And let's put a background color of green for the second one, right? So second view controller, right? So I got two, and as you can see there's a arrowhead pointing to this first view controller over here. So what does this arrowhead means, right? So that means it is the initial view controller. So if I look at this, if I click on this view controller, you can see in the attribute inspector, it says is the initial view controller, which means if you run this code, what you see is the yellow color screen first, not the green color, right? But if you want the green one to run, what you can do is just click on the second view controller and make it initial view controller. So you can see the arrowhead has moved, right? Very clearly, right? You can see it has moved, right? So if I run this now, you will not see the yellow one, you will see the green one first because I changed it, right? So let's do it, right? So I'm going to change my run time into iPhone 11 because my design preview is iPhone 11. So I would like to get the runtime preview also as iPhone 11. And now let me run this, and just to show that, you know, to start with, it starts not with the yellow screen, it starts with the green, right? But if I want the yellow view controller to be seen first, I will have to make that the initial view controller, right? Something simple, right? And let's see what's going to happen. So, right, it takes a bit of time, maybe because it's, yeah, you see, it works, right? So but if you want the other one to start with first, you click on that view controller and you make that as the initial view controller, right? And then if you run, you should see the yellow one. So now I got two view controllers, right? So so why do we need segues, right? Storyboard segues, that is, say for example, if I got a button in my first one, so I'm going to add a button from the library. Let's put a button. I'm going to put a button. Right, I got a button and I'm going to do a few changes. I'm going to make it look little bold. So I need to make it, and then maybe like the slightly larger font, right? And yeah, and then what I'm going to do is done. I would like to have the text color, let us say white, and probably the back color of it to be ash or something like that, right? Just you know, so I got one button here. So let us say I got a button called next, right? So why do we need storyboard segues? Is, say when I click the next button, I want to move to the green color view controller. So that is where you need a storyboard segue, right? That's why you need a segue actually. So I'm going to do is I'm going to just how you connect is just you click on the button and press the control key on your keyboard, and while pressing the control key, you have to keep pressing, don't release the control key, just drag this, right? So this way you make a segue, right? So then you got different types of segues. For now I will just say show, right? Okay, so now you can see it created a storyboard segue, right? So this is why you need a storyboard segue. So if you click on this, you would see the properties of a storyboard segue, and you can change that, you know, the style from here, the kind. So I got one. So now basically if I run this, I should see the button on the yellow color screen, plus I will be able to navigate. So when I click on the next, see it goes to the next screen, right? So this is very important. So now you understood why you need a segue, right? So if I got a couple of screens, let's say now I got a couple of screens. So if I got another screen after this, right? So let me put another view controller, right? Another view controller. So I'm going to drag another one, right? So I got say another one. Just let me place it like this, somewhere here, right? And let me put a color for it just to, you know, see it clearly. Now let's say if this is like a landing screen, right? And I got a couple of options, right? So let's give me a sec. So let's make that as option 1, option 2, option 3, something like that, right? So moving into this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of this button to get the same look and feel and paste it here. And let me say I want to call it as, say, option 1, right? So it's like a landing home page where I got option 1, and say then paste, say option 2, say paste, and say option 3, just an example, right? Like a landing main page, right? Something like that, right? Say option 3, right? And let us say from when I click option 1, I want to go into this. So same technique. If you want to segue, what you do is you press the control key, and while pressing and just drag the mouse in and say show. So now it would create another segue, as you can see, right? So if I run this now, I will be able to navigate, I will be able to go through, I will be able to click and navigate into another screen. Like, so if I click next, it goes to this. If I click option 2, nothing happens because I didn't do anything, but for option 1, it goes to that screen. Now this is the basic use of storyboard segues. Now the question is, do we use storyboard segues to go back in the screen, right? I'm going to the second point in the lesson plan. So for that, something interesting. The third bullet point in the lesson plan is Objective-C View Controller presentation changes in iOS 13. So in moving from iOS version 13 onwards, a new style was introduced, so that it's not a full screen mode. As you can see, when you go to the third screen, the user can see the previous screen slightly at the top. So that gives the feeling to the user that he can swipe this down like I'm doing from the mouse now, and go back. So in speaking generally, you will not need a segue to go back, because you can simply swipe this. As a user, you can simply swipe this and go to the previous screen. So in that sense, you may not need to have a storyboard segue to go back, right? But if you put a storyboard segue to go back, let us say that you got let's say that you got a back button, right? Let's say on this screen, let's see if you got a back button. Let me put it down here. So yes, so if this is like a back button, right, and let me put another back button into this as well. So just because I just made it, let me put a back button here as well. Right, now if you want, if you use a storyboard segue to go back, what you do is you will press the control key and drag it from here to here, right? Then you can, if you want, you can do this. So now you can see a return segue was created, right? So then if you click this like this, you can. Now what would happen is, when you run this, the default behavior would be, so when I run this, let's see what the default behavior is. So when I run this, the default behavior is, so if I click next, from the it goes, then I got the back, right? But if I click the, let me do like this, let me go to this as well. So we got a back here. So if I click back, I'm expecting to go to the green screen. So if I click, yes, it goes to the green screen, but can you see that that orange screen is behind? So which means it has gone back, but it has not dismissed that orange screen. So a default segue, if you use it to go back, it does not dismiss the current view controller, meaning when I was in the orange one and when I click back, I might expect it to dismiss the orange and go to the green, but rather than dismissing the orange, it has come to green because I made a segue. But see, if the user swipe the green down, it goes to the orange screen. So which means it's not like a real back behavior, which you dismiss. So normally, if you put a normal segue storyboard, it's not very ideal for a back behavior, right? So then there are a couple of options for this. One thing is you can create a segue to like a return segue. One solution for this is to create the segue in so that it dismiss the current view controller. But that's one. The other option is, rather than making the back button like using a segue, you can write one line of code, a single line of code for the back button. Actually, I didn't do it in this example. If you want, you can write a single line of a code and dismiss the current view controller, right? So so that is a more preferred approach because it's a single line of a code, right? But moving from iOS 13 onwards, you even don't need that because the user can get the feeling of swiping it down, right? So I hope it's clear for you that so we may not use a storyboard segue to go back. That's the point here, right? And instead of that, if you want, you might use a back button and you might write a single line of a code, like a programmatic one line of a code to dismiss the view controller, right? So that is something very important for you to keep in mind, especially when you deal with these storyboard segues. you need to understand that when to use a segue, and what is the purpose, what is the purpose of a segue, right? Storyboard segue. Because you got one command called dismiss view controller, right? So dismiss view controller, a command, animated dismiss view controller, can be used to dismiss the view controller in one line of a single line of a code, right? So hope that's clear to you. Now you got some basic idea. So rather than so if I run this again and show it to you quickly, so rather than using a segue for the back button, right? So if I click next, and if I click option 1, so it's going. So this is the segue, so it comes, but as you see, if I swipe down, I'm still in that. So it's not a real back, but if you are okay with this behavior, that's fine. It depends on the app as well, right? So if you're fine with this, that's fine. But let us say if you want to dismiss and go back, then I told you the approaches, right? We'll be doing another video about programmatically dealing with view controllers. In that video, we will show you how to write that code for the back button, right? In a video coming after this. So now I think this makes sense for you, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make it little add a few things, right? So I got say an option like this. Say if this is like the login screen, just think yellow color screen like a login. And so when you log in to the app, say you got the green. So on the green, you got option 1, option 2. So if user clicks say option 1, say you are going in this path, right? Just assume like that, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put another view controller, right? So let's say view controller, right? Another one. Okay. Just to say that, I need to go in this path, and maybe another one, right? In this path, right? And then say if I click option 2, say I want to go in another path. Let us say click here, right? So you want to go on another path, right? So say click this and say click this, right? And let's say this is like the path you want to go, you want to take the user if the user click option 1, right? So I will make it the same color, so that's one path. And let's say in this path, let me put some different colors. So this like say a purple color, so that user knows that he's clicking and going forward in this option, right? So then I would like to have let's say I would like to have a next button, right? So because I want to go forward, so a next button here, right? So let's call it as the next button to go to the next, right, screen. Okay, so I got the next and a back, so I will copy it and I will place it here, a next and a back. Then same here, right? I would like to have a next and a back. Same here, I would like to have a next and a back, right? And let's say same here, but this time I don't need a next because there's no other screen. I maybe only need a back. Same here, I may need only like a back, right? So okay, right. So now let's connect this with the segues, right? And one more thing, now I'm going to remove this return segue, because I explained to you that it's not ideal in my case for me to use a back segue for the back, because it's not really dismissing, it's loading, it's with the previous one again, without dismissing the current one. So now I got it. So next means I want to click drag a storyboard segue. Then here also same, drag a storyboard segue, right? So I'm not putting a back because I can swipe down and go back. Right? So as a iOS user, you will know when you can swipe, and because that's the feeling you are getting when you see that, when it's kind of overlapping and you see the gap. So option 2. So when I click option 2, I want to go in this line. So just straightforward, a storyboard segue, right? And let's say next, a segue here, right? And say next, a segue here, right? And one more thing, this is the IO Objective-C series. If you want to have, if you want to do Swift, look at our video series on Swift. So I got it, right? So now let's run and see this. So let me run this with these changes. Okay, so it takes a bit of time, so let's wait. Okay, I got my, say, assume this is a login screen. Say you click say login, right? Then option 1. So okay, so I got the next and I click, I'm seeing, but I may not realize what it is. So one important thing probably I could do is put a label so that I know where I am, right? So I'm going to put a label so that I can display something, or a title. In fact, I can even put a title for each view controller, or if not, like a label like this. So let me put a font. That's fine. So let's say if I'm done, right, just some changes and done, and let's say, where am I, right? So this is like option 1, right? I'm in the path of option 1. Let's say this is the first screen, right? How about that, right? Option 1, that is first screen, right? And let me place it so that when you are here, you know it's your first screen. And then let me copy it, and let's say let me put it here. So I know that it's in the option 1, but it's a second screen. I will change it later. Then paste it here. So in option 1, this is like the third screen. So then same here, if I go here, let me put it here. It's like option 2 first screen, option 2 second screen. I will change it. Then say option 2 the third screen, right? Looks good, right? So let's be fast, right? So first screen, so let me put this as the second screen, and let me quickly go here and put this as option 1 the third screen, right? And this is option 2, like, so I'm showing this is when you develop app, you might have different options to take the user, you know. User click that button, it gives option 1 where user can click and go forward, something like that, right? So use this concept in your apps, right? So when we show the multiple screens, you use it the way you want in your app, right? So this is option 2 second screen, so this is option 2 third screen, right? Option 2 third screen, all good. So if I run this now, you should be able to see this, what I want. Okay, we are waiting till it comes. So let's click next, right? Option 1, this is what I want. So option 1 first screen. Then when I click next, you can understand now I'm in option 1 but the second screen, right? So if I click next, third screen. So it's like the user clicking option, and if in an app, this means a user clicks an option. Let's say in an app, what this means is if user clicks an option, you let him do something, and if you want if you want to give further options for him to go, you click next, like, so then you go to second screen and fill some information, something like that. And then he clicks on something on this, like you will put something like a table view controller, like a set of options, and then when he click it, it may not be a button, right? So in my case it's a button, but in a real app, say it will be a table. So look at our other videos on table view controllers of how to do this, right? So if you click on that, then you will be taken, let us say, to another screen. So then back doesn't work because I did write the code for this. I said I'm not going to put a segue. I explain why, but I can put one line to dismiss, right, in the code. Let's do it in another exercise. But now I can swipe down, so I can come back after I fill the stuff like this. See, it works, right, like this. Then if I click option 2, I'm sorry, I was in option 2 earlier as well. Option 1, see, it's option 1. So you want to go forward, click next. Say if you want to come back, swipe it down. If you want to go forward, click next. Now the question is, uh, uh, so this is fine, right? But sometimes in some apps, what you need is a slightly different behavior to this, right? Which means what you would need is something very important. uh, Let me show it to you now, over here. So in some apps, you may need a slightly different behavior, right? Which means, like, what you we call it as embedding a navigation controller, so that especially in an app like this where you say you got some options, but it's not suitable always. But let's take a case like this. Say when you click option 1, say it's a series of actions, one after the other. Say this one, then you go forward to another one, then you go. In that case, it's like this second screen is like a child of the previous screen, right? Just think like that. The third one is like a child of, so that to come to the third one, basically you are coming through the second screen, right? Say in a app like that, if you have a logic like that, where you want to click option and then you want to dig into detail, let us say more details about this, right? So exactly like I'm doing here. What I'm telling is, now this is a situation like that. So ideally you could use, rather than using simple view controller, you can use a navigation controller for you to do this task, right? In a better way. Now let's go forward and let's do exercise for that, but that we will do in the next video, right? So for now, the idea is that you have learned how to use simple view controllers and segues for to deal with a situation like this, right? So let's see. So the lesson plan was covered, and then let's look at the conclusion. So we learned about using storyboard segues and we did some practicals, but important thing, lastly we did a practical to show kind of when not to use basic view controllers, right, and to replace them with navigation controllers. But this last point I did not complete, that we will do in the next video, right, in lesson 2. So so the reference for this is Apple Developer Docs for you. If you do a Google search and have a look at it. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, on this, and let's so we have reached the end of the video, and if you are not if you're unclear of any of the concepts, have a look at the previous videos on this series, right? And if you are looking for Swift, look at our Swift video series, right? So let's meet with another video for lesson 2 about dealing with multiple screens. Until that, see you guys.